Happy Saturday, December 2nd, 2017. This is going to be my last Las Vegas video that I'm going to do. I really want to just kind of summarize everything and tell you what I think. And I'm pretty sure that I'm right. However, there's probably 100,000 CCTV camera footage that we will never get. Las Vegas Police Department and I think the FBI too, and the city, they're all being sued by Los Angeles Times. I've covered this in another interview with Libertas Veritas, so you can go back and watch that. But they are being sued, and they are getting nowhere. The Las Vegas Metro Police Department, they are not releasing any of the body cams. They're not releasing the 911 audio calls, and they're not releasing any of the citywide camera footage. I'm only guessing because it would incriminate them. And there's a lot still going on, which is why I'm sure why it's been so quiet. No one's talking about it. It's not barely mentioned in the media. Tucker Carlson, I guess, is coming out Tuesday to do a little more follow-up. He seems to be the only mainstream media personality that's still covering it. And he's the one that released one CCTV camera that no one, FBI didn't even ask the storefront for, and it showed a person dying, and you could hear the helicopters hovering. So I covered the helicopters in another video, but I just want to kind of summarize that this was a attempted assassination on Prince Salman, and a lot of people don't really think about Saudi Arabia anymore. I kind of didn't either since 9/11. You know, Osama bin Laden's family was taken out of the country right afterwards when all the airports were on lockdown. Really, and then next thing you know, we're invading Iraq. I remember thinking, like, how did that happen? What's the connection? It's all Middle Eastern, and so I just trusted, the president back then. Like, they know what they're doing. I don't know nothing. But we have to get more involved. We are smart. I cannot believe the intelligence of the people. We're not just little people. Just because they don't tell us stuff. Yes, a lot of people, they just want to bury their heads in the sand and go about their merry way. You know why? Because they're working 2 jobs, they're trying to take their kids to soccer. They don't have time to do all this investigation, which is one of the reasons why this is my last video. My daughter's she's a world competitor in Taekwondo. She's a 3rd degree black belt. My husband and I are 1st degree black belts only because she needed a coach, and we have to fly her all over the place. Costa Rica. She won the gold medal in Montreal. That was the same day, and we were so excited. October 1st, she got the gold medal in Montreal in Canada at the Canadian Open, and then that night they were flying home. I was home by myself when everything happened, and it was just going from a high to knots in my stomach, and this horrific action that was going on. I was listening to the police scanner that night, and then when I woke up, the whole story had completely changed. So obviously there's a cover-up. Obviously, I don't know if it's a false flag. It was definitely planned by the oligarchy war mafia that's out here and all over the world, deep state, CIA, and but what I want to talk about and summarize things up is why I think this was an assassination attempt on Prince Salman. Somebody had a really good article, and she wrote that the Las Vegas shooting and the connection to what's happening in Saudi Arabia, they are definitely connected. So to start from the beginning, there was a King Faisal who had a son who was Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, and we know who that is. He's co-owner of the hotel within a hotel, 4 Seasons, the top 5 floors of Mandalay Bay. King Faisal got sick. He took ill, and he named his brother King Salman as the king in his place. King Salman has named his son heir to the throne, which was, instead of Prince Al-Walid, the other king's son, he named his own son crowned prince, which is Prince Salman. So King Salman named his son heir to the throne instead of his brother's son, Prince Al-Walid. Al-Walid is a Wahhabi. So in case you don't know, they're the the radical Islam. And Salman is a Sunni, and they are not radical or violent Islam. Wahhabi is extreme Islam. Salman wanted a more modern, non-extreme Islam for Saudi. That's why he named his own son the heir. In Las Vegas, Prince Al-Walid owned the upper floors of Mandalay Bay Resort, including the 32nd floor. That I did not know. I knew he owned the top 5, and they're numbered funny because it goes from like 32, and then like the top 5 or 6 floors goes up to like 61 or something. So they're not numbered in order. I don't even think there's any floors in the 40s. That was one of the points of shooting at the Strip. One of the places, because of the witnesses were all correct, there were other locations too. The Mandalay Bay has a helipad on the roof. Now, I don't know if it's a designated helipad, but it's definitely where the Y intersects in the middle. It has room for a helicopter to land. And that's important because it's believed that was an escape route. And I did go over the helicopter radar in my other video, and I have uploaded the footage on if you subscribe to my channel, I have that on there. It's not my work, somebody else's work, and I do give them credit for that great job. So Stephen Paddock was a pilot. He was also a gun runner between the Philippines and the US. And I want to show you something else. He wasn't just a gun runner. He was running a lot of stuff. So we think there's also, this is just a side note because I think there was, gun running involved. He was a spy. MI6, our CIA cut off all communication with MI6 because they found out that he was a spy. CIA, deep state, it's all like a big black ball of goo, So, Pedogate, Stephen Paddock, yes, he was a pilot. Yes, we think he was running guns, but we also think, his brother was picked up for, child pornography. His other brother's weird. Some people think they're all the same guy. I've seen death certificates of his parents, and they only list one son. But who knows? That's kind of here nor there, and that has, yes, it's connected, but it's not the main issue with what happened in Las Vegas. I think that was the assassination attempt of Prince Salman, because they're trying to clean up Saudi Arabia and become more modern and crack down on corruption. So I live here in Las Vegas, obviously, and I want to show you something because Stephen Paddock didn't make his money gambling. I think he screwed around like everybody else out here with little slot machines and video poker. You don't get rich off of that. That's just like twiddling your thumbs for fun. When you want a beer or something, you get free drinks and play video poker. So let's go to, hang on. Here we go. I'm going to record the screen. All of these paradise ranches. 1, 10, 11, 12, all the way. I haven't opened up all these, but let's look at 21. Paradise Ranch 21. Who owns it? Who manages it? Stephen Paddock. Okay. So let's look at crap. What does that? Let's look at Paradise Ranch 22. Who manages that one? Peggy Paddock. They're out here in Las Vegas. So, what are these paradise ranches? Well, they're, funny enough, there's also one in the Philippines. So, that's what this article is about. And what they do, the Paradise Ranch in the Philippines, they fly, who's from the Philippines? His girlfriend, who had 2 social security numbers, And he checked into the Mandalay Bay with her social security number. So I think she's the spy too. So she worked in Atlanta at Club Paradise. Stephen Paddock used Mary Lou Danley's ID to check into his suite at Mandalay Bay. And she'd also gone to the Route 91 Harvest Festival in '04. So they knew about that Harvest Festival. They'd been to it many times before. There's pictures of them in the Philippines. So here's the Paradise Ranch in the Philippines. This is from Corporation Wiki. I'm not going to click on it. And what they do is, I guess, and it's located right next to an airport in this area of the Philippines that is known for child trafficking. Angel City, and it remains the sex tourism capital of the Philippines. I guess climate change is forcing many girls into sex trafficking. So it goes into this more and more, and that the two are connected. They do work with each other through some non-denominational groups in the Philippines. And it's weird because they fly children from the Philippines who've been left behind by U.S. military personnel. I don't know who would leave their child, and even if it was illegitimate, who would do that? So yeah, this Stephen Paddock was into a lot of bad stuff. I don't even know if he's dead. I don't know if he did it. There's, they got pictures of him with a tattoo on his neck, and then the dead guy has a shot in his chest and his head blown off, and there's shell casings, above the blood. So that's odd. So that's Stephen Paddock. But I want to go back to, about what was going on in the Tropicana. So we'll play this little video here. You've seen it, where it looks like a SWAT team escorting out some guy who's dressed like a civilian. There are people trying to say that, he was an off-duty security guy that was called in and he was playing softball. Well, I can prove that that's a crock of crap, because that's just not the case at all. I have a copy of that statement on my iPad here. Where did I put that? There it is. Nope, that's not it. But anyway, let's play this video and kind of watch the guy walking out that's in a local softball t-shirt, carrying looks like some kind of a little suitcase, wearing some people are trying to say this. Jason Goodman claims that they're tattoos on his legs. They're just black socks. And anyway, here we go. I just want to interject here. SWAT doesn't point their guns at civilians. This is a private military company. I'm certain of it. You guys want to look into private military companies? They're rampant, and they make 5 times more amount of money than the military, who makes like $40,000 a year maybe. And when they leave the military, they're hired by these private military companies like, Blackwater, who's now Academy, and the one that was out here that we believe did this hit and fulfilled this contract to assassinate Prince Salman was ETS Security Services, and they're based in Saudi Arabia and in Washington, D.C. Kind of good look at this guy. I don't see leg tattoos. I see black socks. Oh, I do. I see some leg tattoos. Right there. So that's what was going on the inside of the Tropicana. Let's take a look at what was going on the outside of the Tropicana. This is a little video that was hard to find. It doesn't have hardly any views. I finally found the highest quality, I think the original. Okay, and at the time, the guy who was filming this, you know, he didn't know, I don't think he knew there was a shooting going on anywhere else. This is outside the Tropicana. You can hear the helicopters.
Oh, they're shooting right now. Oh, look, he's by the window, look. Look, he's right there by the window, look, look. Look, look, come here, look, look. Yeah. They ran up there, bro, look, look. Where? He's right there, bro. Look, look. He's looking down. You see him?
Is that when they open the window?
Yeah, that's him.
Get a refund or what?
Oh, man.
Now, I don't know why
casino too,
they think
bro.
that's the shooter.
We're never gonna get home tonight. No fucking jet ski.
But there was also an, I'll try to find it and include it. There was also an audio that they were
It's right there, bro.
shots.
Look.
There were shots fired at the Tropicana at the emergency crew, the paramedics.
Can we go this way? Duck, man.
Look, man.
So there's obviously a lot going on at the Tropicana, inside and out. And, you know, I don't know why Prince Salman would be, but they do believe that he was there. So I'm going to switch and read this Facebook posting that supposedly a graveyard security manager who was playing softball was called in to the Tropicana. Okay, one thing I have to mention, this off-duty graveyard security manager that was claiming to be the guy who walked out in the Tropicana, it links together a couple things and it verifies a lot of stuff. At least I think it does. You can make up your own mind. But anyway, so he says yes, that's me in the video. Don't believe me, click on my profile, which is some Facebook profile. I don't know how to verify it because his name is blocked out. But I keep hearing from other people that, no, that's not the Saudi prince. This is some other guy because of a tattoo on his leg, which I could barely even see. It's not recognizable to match it to anything. He says, here's the entire story behind the video. That he's the graveyard security manager, and he's the one in the white softball jersey, and his assistant is in the suit. I don't believe this. I think the graveyard security manager is the guy in the suit, and this is a disinformation. I'll tell you why. So he says his security manager's in the suit, and he's in the softball jersey, and he's wearing the softball SIS shoes. As you know, here's a picture of these SIS shoes right here. They do look like the shoes that this guy is wearing. Let's see here, you can see it's SIS, but this is kind of weird because SIS stands for like sis. It's like a girls' softball. I guess some of the guys use it too, but so it's kind of sissy-ish, I think. Anyway, so he's heard everything, that they escorted him to the helicopter, which in the other video, you could hear a helicopter outside. So if it was the prince, they're probably escorting him to a helicopter. They escorted me across the street. I'm a high roller. I'm carrying millions of dollars in the bag. I'm the shooter's brother. I'm a VIP, etc. And then he says the truth is he was playing softball and got the call to report to work since we are 600 feet from the village where this tragedy happened. Okay, there's no softball field anywhere near there. There's no softball field anywhere. The only softball field that I could find, you could go on Google Maps, do the satellite, and you'll find there's one over on the east side of the 515, which is probably about 10 miles away. There's no softball field anywhere. And when I play softball, I wear cleats. I don't wear hiking shoes or cross runners or whatever. This is ridiculous. He said he ran through the office and immediately to the bungalows, which is the nearest entrance closest to the venue. And I already showed you that the bungalows are inside the middle area by the pool in Tropicana. They're not on the outside, and it's not close. Once there, the SWAT told us to follow behind. Why would the SWAT tell them to follow behind? It makes no sense. And regular police officers don't point their guns at innocent civilians. So I don't know if this is a private military company or these are just complete imbecile SWAT cops. You don't point guns at innocent civilians. This is ridiculous. To follow behind, and the casino hadn't been cleared. There were reports of active shooters at the Tropicana, the Luxor, blah, blah, blah. They were making sure everyone's hands were empty and they're in the air, sweeping the front. We just followed their orders, and once we got to the front desk, we broke off as our office is over there. So, he just said at the beginning that his office was near the bungalows. I've heard everything that's going on. He already said, I ran through our office. And then at the bottom, he says, we just followed their orders, and once we got to the front desk, we broke off as our office is over there. The guy's writing is contradicting himself. This is complete BS information, and there's no softball field anywhere. It makes more sense that it was the Saudi Prince Salman that they were escorting out, and they were freaking out, pointing guns at civilians, which they should not have been, or it was his private military company, getting him to the helicopter to be evacuated because of the assassination attempt. But look at this over here. So I don't know if you've been following Q at all, but I just happened to come across this from November 12th, or Q meaning from Q clearance, which is the top clearance you can get, as in like the president or the administration. They have the top clearance. So these are kind of cryptic messages that Q was dropping since Halloween, October 31st. And he talks about that patriots don't sleep, 40,000 feet up, too necessary to understand USA, Saudi Arabia, global events, paint the picture. Talks about decreasing that high, there's greater risk at a higher altitude. I'm not quite sure what all that means. Many cannot, will not swallow. What is no such agency, Q group? Well, I know that means no such as NSA. who has clearance to full picture. He's hinting that NSA does. It's important. Then look at this. SIS is good. And we know that Prince Salman is clearing house. To me, this is telling me that this guy wearing the SIS shoes is good. And it ain't the graveyard security manager. That's Prince Salman. And this is Q verifying it. Then he talks about Admiral Rogers, who was the NSA. What agency is at war with clowns in America, which is CIA. So you've got the NSA at war with the CIA, who is deep state. And how does POTUS shift the narrative? It does go on, and I have kept track of all of Q's postings. And like I said in another video, you should follow Tracy Beans on YouTube if you want to know more about the Q messages. I do know that, like, as of yesterday, because Q was infiltrated and they started making it look like a Nazi, postings, that they're now over on 8chan, and he has been posting there. But I'm going to leave it at that, to me, this verifies that this is Prince Salman because of this SIS being good. It's kind of a code, and I never put that together before until today. So anyway, that's all about that for now. Map go. There we go. Okay. So here's the Tropicana. See if I can zoom in a little bit. Okay, see where the pool is right here? That's where the bungalows are. And don't see any softball fields anywhere. Now we do know there was 30 FBI here because the taxi cab driver that talked to Shepard and Bellis. Tell you what, these taxi cab drivers out here, they know everything going on in town. So we had 30 FBI right over here behind MGM Grand. So we think this Prince Salman was here in the Tropicana because all the activity going on there. And then, of course, you've got Mandalay Bay here. And you've got the airport right here where people were running through here. We also have, we know there were shots in the tank right here. There was 2. I've got pictures of those. And this apartment complex is when I went down there. Parked right there. And I walked around. The only other place that I saw bullet holes was, see this curb right here? And I couldn't get pictures of it because it was all blocked off by the police. Right there, I saw 2, looked like gunshot holes, kind of busted up the curb, and they were tagged. But other than that, there's no softball field around here. This guy is full of crap. I don't know if they're trying to deny. I don't know who's behind the denial. The most sensible thing, if you're trying to like evacuate somebody who's under attack, you put them in civilian clothing, especially if they're royalty. Like they're gonna walk out in their, royalty clothes and be a spectacle. No, I believe that was a private military company. Like Obama had his private army. All these ex-military people are for hire. They make a lot of money. They make a lot of money, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And obviously the princes are having a war, but they are so tied up in our politics, and they've bought all of our politicians, the Clintons, who donated 25, actually it was more than that. It was in the hundreds of $1 million to the Clinton campaign. Yeah, Alawi Talal, Prince Alawi Talal. And, okay, we'll stop that recording for now.
The timeline's pretty, unprecedented, let alone with, so you get the $42 million worth of put options done by the by the George Soros Fund Management Group, and also you have a contract being fulfilled by ETS Risk Management. So this is a private company that is actually ran, and you could pull them up, ETS, but they are ran out of Saudi Arabia, but they did work during 2013 in Libya, and that's fiasco. So when you're saying, and people bat their eyes saying that this is Islamic, this is Islamic, not in the sense that it's done by Islamic groups, but in a way, ISIS itself was a creation of these private military groups. And if you want to, back in the day, they terms like Al-Qaeda, and this is real.
Let's go to Zach in Tampa, Florida. Zach, you're on the air with Shepard of Intel Hub.
Yes, Alex, Shepard, it's great to be on with you. Had to connect some dots because what they pulled off here in Vegas was just too far. So first and foremost, what we have is, and this is public knowledge, you have the Foros Fund Management Group, the LLC, putting $42 million worth of put options on the MGM on August
I forgot
14th.
that. Yeah, I mean, a record put option the week before. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean that's just part of it. So I mean you can't look past that. That's obvious. But also what we have here is the private military company, the Saudi Arabian-based ETS Risk Management Company.
And that's confirmed too. Everything the caller is saying is documented because this is the final pieces. You had all this royalty there, and you had the Saudi Air Force there that week.
So, yeah, this ETS Risk Management Company is a PMC that's real shady, and they don't work now within the government because who's in the White House, but they did work during Libya with the Clintons. If I got some guys down here in the forensic accounting. If you look into the contract.
So let's start over. Zach's recently gotten out of the military and the whole intelligence area. We'll leave it at that. Called him with a lot of good info in the past 6 months. So just start back over because this is really important.
Right. So the timeline's pretty, unprecedented. Let alone with so you got the $42 million worth of put options done by the George Soros Fund Management Group, and also you have a contract being fulfilled by ETS Risk Management. But this contract was not fulfilled by DoD. Okay, so this is sort of this is where it gets tricky. But they were working, and there are PMCs that work kind of in vacuums in Libya, in Syria, and they do certain drills stateside as well. But they were there that weekend. Everybody knows they were there that weekend.
Are you talking about like those CIA paramilitary teams?
So this is a private company that's ran that is actually ran, and you could pull them up, ETS, but they are ran out of Saudi Arabia. But they did work during 2013 in Libya, and that's fiasco. So when you're saying, and people bat their eyes saying that this is Islamic. This is Islamic, not in the sense that it's done by Islamic groups, but in a way, ISIS itself was a creation of these private military groups. And if you want to, back in the day, they terms like Al-Qaeda, and this is real. So you have these private military companies that are backed and run by the deep state, creating this chaos around the world. And with full validation, 100% ETS Risk Management was on the ground in Vegas that night. And this gentleman who you have on, who's talking about these choppers, being in the area, he's spot on. And the next thing I got to bring up is the forensic accounting that's going to be brought up, because there's individuals that are aware of this. In today's day and age, when you have these transfers and you're transferring large sums of money, people in the intelligence agencies who are either in or out are not going to stay quiet. And this is big, and this stuff's coming out right now.
Wow. You know what? Stay there, Zach, because we've got a guest come on, but we'll push him back one more segment, and we're going to get him on. Because I want you to be able to come back and lay all this out, because I already knew all this, because I saw it in mainstream news that Soros had a record shorts against MGM the week before. We're going to show that article when we come back from break. Anybody can search it in 5 seconds and find it. And then we're also going to come in and show all these groups that the caller just talked about, and the Saudis having some giant military meeting with their people that week while this is happening. I mean, what in the world is going on? This is some real deep state stuff going on here, multinational garbage. And then Jeff and Frank as well. Shepard Ambulis is our guest. I'm Alex Jones. Please spread the word. This is key information they don't want you to hear. Infowars.com/show. Shepard Ambulis of IntelHub.com, great researcher and filmmaker, is in studio with us. Been working with this guy off and on for 10 years. And we're all getting different pieces of what happened in Vegas. Some of them have been accurate. Some of them haven't been accurate completely. But we've been ferreting it out. We've been incredibly accurate when it's come up with the fact that our law enforcement sources said he had Antifa and Middle Eastern stuff in his room, that he traveled to the Middle East. That came out a week later. So much more. We got one more segment and another special guest joining us who's being persecuted for his political speech, facing jail time after Antifa assaulted him, even though it's on camera. There in Berkeley, they're trying to put him in jail. So that's coming up in the next two segments. But right now, finishing up with some of these callers, Zach has given us great intel, says he's out of Army intelligence and other things. He's retired now, but been calling in for 6 months, giving us a lot of really great points. But I don't just go off, what he says. I am reminded of the $40+ million record put option on MGM the week before by Soros, and that the fact that the owners are big SJWs and fund Soros and other groups and get their employees to give money and then match it. Or that the Saudi Arabian Air Force and military was having a big convention in Vegas that week and all the rest of it. What was the hostage rescue team, the HRT team, on Monday morning trying to tell me? They also wanted to know, how'd you say they'd probably attack at 10 o'clock at night? I just said Antifa coming up the next month, says they're going to get violent. They're going to attack overnight. They'll probably hit after 10 o'clock at night. It wasn't like some magic thing. But, yeah, I got contacted by the FBI about that, too. And this is serious business. But, Zach, in just 2 minutes, recap what you said and give us other intel on motive, because you've given us amazing information in the last 6 months.
Sure, absolutely. And, I'm going to discuss some of this stuff because it's gotten too far, and ethically it's just out of control at this point. So you have to put everything into perspective in the context of during this whole war, these wars in Libya and Syria where they're destabilizing the region, there were legitimate private military companies given hundreds of millions of dollars to kind of, create this war there. So when you have a new administration come into power and they're no longer, getting those paychecks, it's not like they pick up new hobbies. Okay, they're still guns for hire and they're still working, and technically there's still ongoing investigations. So I believe that Trump and the White House is aware of what's going on. This is a battle within, I guess you could call the deep state and the legitimate government, because the reason that there were multiple teams there is because they were aware of what's going on. And the reason that some of these Saudi interests are allowed to be there, how can they be there, what's going on? They have certain diplomatic immunities, and there's ongoing, projects and missions going on. So just to recap.
And there's a civil war within the Saudis. A lot of the Saudis want to do what Trump says and actually stop this. And so is this a civil war to embarrass Trump, or what's going on?
Well, this is ongoing. It's definitely to embarrass. I think it's way more severe than embarrassing Trump. This is a full-out war on Trump, and there's obvious push to assassinate him and carry out their agenda. But with this specific PMC that was there working, this is pretty important. And if you notice the timeline, you have a war within what is the White House now and all these quote-unquote intelligence agencies going on. On 60 Minutes on Sunday, you also have the Emir of Qatar coming out, okay, who was sanctioned by the Saudis, the Bahrainians, and all this other stuff. When we have our U.S. assets and our legitimate PMCs in Qatar there, the Emir of Qatar talked about this PMC that he kicked out of his own country, and then you had the Saudis attacking him.
And remember 3 years ago, Bandar Bush threatened the Russians for the Olympics, and he threatened the EU that if they didn't go along with the Syria takeover by the ISIS al-Qaeda forces, quote, we'll launch terror attacks inside of your tourist zones. So is this the same thing the Saudis threatened Russia with?
100%. And this is, it's sophisticated. And the weirdness of it is they have backing, this quasi-backing from the U.S., not the legitimate U.S.
The deep state Obama folks.
Exactly. So, and
you've got Mueller that's, took Islam off the radical list and won't let them investigate mosque. I think they bit off more than they can chew. And so I think that's why the HRT told me there's an Islamic connection. It gave me all this info that later came out to be true about him being there earlier and the shooting inside the hotel. But then they got shut off. They don't know what's going on now. But there's other stuff I can't tell people that's just unbelievable. Here's the thing. They want us to believe other stories. Let's just leave it at that. Down to the point of I can't talk about it. But you're absolutely on target, Zach.
The symbology, and nobody's kind of picking this up, but the symbology from a real meta perspective of having the Luxor in the background is just so bizarre.
Yeah, that's the Middle East, that's the Arabs, that's the Muslims killing the rednecks.
This is serious, and I'm just going to tell you right now, and I don't want to rattle anybody, but between November 1 and November 5, PMC contractors or as far as max contracts go, there's a lot going on in the next, 6 days, 5-6 days. There's a lot going on. There's obviously active threats as we speak, but this is a real issue because you technically can't put this stuff and televise it. To the
I've
public
always
out
said
there.
this. I've always said this, though, that Antifa is the cover for the real paramilitary muscle, and the fact that they brought in all these giant Islamic paramilitary contractor groups, what you're saying all is clicking. How many people you're talking to in the military there in Florida with the Special Operations Command and people, how many people are aware of this?
Everyone's talking about it, and it's the reason I'm on right now. There's kind of a certain panic now. There's just no moral efficacy here. It's gone out the window, and the sides have been drawn.
And now there's a drill for the power to be knocked out November 4th.
Oh yeah, there's a drill, and they've planned this stuff well in advance. And I'm just telling you, it's been as active as it's been probably since 2011 when it comes to PMCs being active. This is stateside, so they could say they're.
Well, here's the deal: if the globalists let these Islamic groups hit us on November 4th, Trump has to take the gloves off against their leadership. Boom. And I know the military already knows that, but the military loyal to the U.S. should be target on right now. All these enemies. I mean, everybody should be pointed at them right now. And then they need to be, if they launch concerted Bolshevik terror attacks in this country, they've got to be decapitated. I'm not talk big here, folks. We're major in the bullseye for saying things like that, but I'm not putting up with it.
This was a blackmailing tactic. The shooting was an intelligence.
Exactly. Go after the casinos. Go after the bread and butter. Exactly.
To show you what they're capable of. They're not backing down. They pulled this off in Vegas on the first there to say, hey, this is where we're at.
Well, that's what I got told by my sources. They said, we can't give you the intel. This is from the White House days later. We're told this is a trigger from larger Islamic attacks. But what that really meant was it's already an Islamic attack. We don't want to go there.
And it is Islamic. And this is where they blur the lines, because when you say Islamic, they immediately go to a foreign threat. We have to realize how influential the intelligence agencies were actually.
Well, look what they've done to get Europe to run up a white flag and everything else. This is an important call. Zach, thank you so much. God bless you. We should get Zach on as a guest tomorrow. Get Zach's info. See if Zach wants to come on as a guest for an hour tomorrow. And listen, Shepard, come back in the next week for part 2 of this. It's been very powerful. Intelhub.com. What do you think of what he just broke down?
Absolutely amazing. 90.
By the way, I couldn't sell this on air. I don't know Zach. That's the stuff I wasn't at liberty to say. He just said it.
Well, thanks.
Can you believe that? I'm not talking about
90% of these of the gang stalking that's going on in America right now happens from private companies. It's from private firms. So all this could be connected.
Wow. All right. Thank you, sir. Amazing. We've got a man who's a patriot who has been persecuted for just going out and demonstrating and being attacked by Antifa and fighting back. He's facing 5-6 years in prison. We're going to talk to him on the other side. There's some videos.
So up here, they have the Delano and Four Seasons, of course, Mandalay Bay. If you click on Four Seasons, I'm going to show you. The top 5 floors are the Four Seasons. And they have a separate express elevator and a separate entrance. So if you look down here, service and sophistication, with a separate entrance and accessed by private express elevators, Four Seasons Hotel offers stylish renovated guest rooms located on the top floors of the Mandalay Bay Tower. The hotel's newly restyled guest rooms echo the city's excitement and vibrancy with a chic design scheme, bold colors, and quality constructed furnishings. Okay, so there's 3 sets of elevators in the Mandalay Bay. The private set that bypasses the entire Mandalay Bay and goes straight to the top, which is 1 floor above where supposedly Stephen Paddock's room was. I don't think they call it floor 33. I think it goes to like 59, and then it's 61, 2, and 3 or something like that. They bypass all floors in the 40s. They have a really weird numbering system. I don't know why, but they do. So there's a guy named Nick Falco on Twitter, and he went, I think around the 14th of October. He's from California, and he went up there and stayed, and he took some pictures, actually kicked him out and banned him for life because he was talking and asking questions to the employees. And he even posted his lifelong ban letter that they gave him. But anyway, he did get pictures of the elevator. So this picture here, hang on, let me go back to the floor plan. there. Come on, there it is. Okay, so this is the floor plan to the Mandalay Bay, the main hotel there. And as you know, Stephen Paddock stayed on the 32nd floor at the end suites here, and supposedly was accessing this one. This one had a broken window. This one had a broken window right here. There's the stairs. They don't have cameras in the stairs. These are the main elevators right here. And there's, here's a picture of the main elevators with cameras, okay? Over here, see this blank spot right here? Those are the service elevators, and they are not locked, and anybody can use them. Even the, all the guests can use them. And here's a picture of the service elevators. And you see the camera in them? They have cameras. So if the service elevators were used, there would be video in there too. Okay. So what obviously was used, you know, there's, I don't think it's a designated helipad on top of the Mandalay Bay, but why would they need to use that to bring everything up when they have a private express elevator? The owner, Prince in Saudi Arabia, who's worth $30 billion, and they can just take that one, go to the floor above Stephen Paddock, and walk down the stairs where there are no cameras. Why would they go so far all the way over here, then they gotta walk all the way here with all that guns and ammo and be visible by all the people, you know, in the hallway to go all the way here? They wouldn't. They wouldn't. It's stupid. It's a complete ignoramus explanation. And so a lot of people, you know, this is, you know, available to the public. It says right here, private express elevators, Four Seasons Hotel, guest rooms, look at the top floors. So they just zipped up there, walked down one flight of stairs with everything. Or they're so rich, maybe they rented that room too. Somebody said they owned it. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that. Service elevators, floor plan, regular elevators. Don't have a picture of the private elevators because they're private. So I just wanted to, oh, and these are the doors to the service elevators. So you go through these doors and then you have these elevators. And then these are the pretty main guest elevators. So there you have it. These are the service elevators at the Mandalay Bay. There's no locks, nothing. Anybody can use them, just like the regular elevators. So this being my last video, I'm gonna end it on a kind of a medley of videos where people witnessed shootings at Caesar's Palace, Bellagio, MGM Grand. They were all up and down the strip. The whole thing was just a huge distraction, and like I said, an assassination attempt on Prince Salman. And as you know, since then, the House of Saud has fallen. Things are going down. There's over 4,000, probably up to 5,000 sealed indictments right now. This whole thing with General Flynn admitting to what we already knew. You watch. Mueller is flipped because he was guilty. You don't think Trump knew what was going on the whole time? He has a hotel out here. He knows what was going on, and he's been very quiet too because there are still things happening. They're going to be going after the Rothschilds and Soros next, and all of Soros' little children who he's been funding, and that's for someone else to make another video. I will be investigating these private military companies, and I may do a video on that because go on Wikipedia, just put in private military company, PMC. There's like 12 of them out here in Las Vegas. I had no idea. They also go by private security companies, and they are ex-military, and because they are hired by the government, a lot of people think that automatic weapons are outlawed. Yes and no. If you have permission by the ATF, they're not outlawed. And if the government is hiring these private military companies, they can use them. So, and a lot of them have diplomatic immunity. So they can kind of come and go. They're all safe. And that these are terrorists. But anyway, on that, I'm going to just kind of do a little bit of medley of all the evidence that we know. I was going through my old Facebook feeds from back in early October, and I had no idea how many have been deleted. This whole crackdown on fake news, they've deleted, like, I would say a third of my articles and my videos that I've posted. So, yeah, I'm about done with Facebook, and we know that's just a CIA extension, like Google is and YouTube is, and that's why I've had to download a lot of my videos to keep them. A lot of them have gotten deleted too. But anyway, if anybody's watching the end of this very long video, I'm sure a lot of people won't. But then what I want to announce is, because of all of this and what's gone in Nevada, I hate politics. I hate politicians. But sometimes you got to become the thing that you hate, because I am tired of these elitist, ignoramus people making laws that affect us. And then they get to, find some loophole because they're so wealthy. So I'm announcing right now, Stephanie Jones, I am running for Congress, the U.S. state of Nevada, District 3. There is an opening. There's a woman that 6 months ago, she won. And in District 3, there's 4 seats. 3 of them are Democrat right now. She is leaving because she's running for senator. She's Democrat. And I hope to fill that seat. There's probably about 10 right now that are filed and listed to run for Congress that are Republicans. I don't have a lot of money. I'm going to try to use my own and be real thrifty, because I'm very good at being thrifty and saving money. We'll see what I can do. You know what I have an advantage? I'm a little people. I know what's going on. I'm not aloof from the world. I've changed 10,000 poopy diapers. I've raised a daughter all by myself as a single mom till she was 13 years old, and my now husband adopted her. And she is now a 3rd-degree black belt and competes internationally. I was voted top 100 women of the year this year. I own my own business with my husband and my family. I know what's going on. I know the problems in our education system. They graduate, because I've hired these kids in my salon. Most of them, they don't know anything about the current events. They don't know anything about what's going on in their state or the government or internationally. They want to show up to work and get paid more than minimum wage, and they just want to play on their phones and watch television. And then I have to babysit them too while I'm paying them. I thought babysitters got paid, and I'm not even making any money. So the education system direly needs an overhaul. Common Core is not working. I mean, theoretically, it sounded really good, right? I was never for it, but, let them try it. It didn't work. It has to be abolished. It needs to go bye-bye. The education needs to come back to the local level again, and parents need to be more involved. There's a lot more I can say about that, but let's get to the finish of this video. Sorry, I go on tangents all the time. Anyway, vote for me for Congress if you live here in Nevada. And on that, have a good night. I was going to show the footage, a video I had. I posted it on Twitter. There was a shooting at the MGM Grand Hotel, and it's gone. I can't find it anywhere. So we'll go with this. This is the Bellagio.
We can't leave, and we can't. We're just here because of everything that happened earlier, and now we're.
Well, whatever you're hearing on the news or whatever, who knows what?
Yeah, because what they're reporting on the news is incorrect.
Yes. So,
And yeah, okay. So as long as you guys knew that too, that's what I wanted to make sure. Okay, all right. That they're reporting that nothing happened here. We were actually sitting at the Petrosian Lounge when all the mass chaos happened, and we heard the pop, 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 pop. Yes, and we were at the front. So, yeah. All right. So, anyways, everybody, there it is. All right. I hope that helps you as far as the knowing knowing exactly what was going on at the Bellagio Hotel. Hi, everybody.
Hi, we're safe.
We're safe. Prayers and all of our love sent to everybody that had to go through this. But I don't like the fact that it was being reported one way. We were trying to make all kinds of phone calls because when I heard the gunfire, and I've never heard anything like that, and I never in my life thought I'd ever be in anything like that. And now they were saying no, that nothing happened at the other hotels. Like I said, I don't know what happened at the other hotels, but I do know what happened at this one, and I know that my husband, here, jumped on top of me, and I was holding on to another lady because she was scared to death crying until the security told us that we could then be ushered to the back corridors. We were just trying to maneuver around the hotel, and
This is inside the concert at Mandalay Bay at the bar.
Oh my god. Open that. No, just leave it. So you are hot. Wait, hurry. Open that. We can go in there. It says the door.
Like, there's a lot of cakes.
Open it. You guys, please. Oh, stay here. Wait,
More verification at the Bellagio.
shots fired.
4:15 a.m. Bellagio PDR is hearing a lot of shots being fired.
Another burst.
Control, MGM Festival CP. Hey, please be advised that Fox News is headed towards the east side of the festival lot. If somebody can push that back, please. They're filming all of the stuff that's taking on back there.
Please be advised that 4:15 a.m. Bellagio here is hearing a lot of shots being fired, not seeing anyone. They're on the first floor and he's whispering. And now she's saying suspects are inside with her and she's whispering cannot talk.
Time left on that report, please.
I came in at 23:55 for go.
23:55.
And we're calling Bellagio now.
Go 213 Armor.
213 up.
Here's the Paris. Or, I'm sorry, Planet Hollywood.
Go downstairs right now. Everybody go.
Is this a fist fight, y'all?
Where are we going?
I'm scared of that. Scared is fully fighting this guy right now.
Go back to the beginning of this.
This is fucking crazy. There's a shooter in Planet Hollywood right now. fucking nuts. I grabbed all my chips. Oh, God. There we go.
Go downstairs right now. Everybody go.
There it is. Is this a fist fight, y'all?
Where are we going?
This is Caesar's Palace.
Careful, everybody.
There are also videos from Aria, which I don't have here right now, and MGM Grand. I have a lot of testimonies on Facebook under Jones and For Truth of people's eyewitness accounts that were at the Aria, the Cosmopolitan, the Garage at the Mirage, New York, Excalibur. They were all up and down the Strip. This is of some more shootings the next morning at 9 a.m. October 2nd at the Luxor, after there had been like a bomb threat the night before, according to the police scanners. And there was other video, which I'm not going to show. It's out there on YouTube of, you know, everybody being quarantined in like the parking basement at the Luxor. This is the next morning.
Live and active shooter, October 2nd at 9 o'clock in the morning at the Luxor Hotel, which they deny.